Okay, Jasmine, you are now the proud recipient of Mrs. Mead's first video math help lesson. Now, we're going to be looking at page 151 in your book, and this chart right here is what you are going to use to help you to convert metric units. Now, remember, metric units are based on multiples of 10, and when we measure things in metric units, we're always going to take a look at two different things. First of all, what is being measured and how we want to measure that, and then we take a look at the prefixes. So when you're measuring in metric, if you're measuring in length, you're going to be measuring in meters, and that's a distance. If you're going to be measuring capacity, you're going to be measuring liters. Think of a 2-liter bottle of pop. How much will that bottle hold? It will hold 2 liters. That's capacity. Or you're going to be thinking about mass, and we do that in grams, and that is how much something weighs, how much mass it has. Okay, so let's just take a look at length right now, and length is in meters. Okay, we have these prefixes that will tell us the distance, and this is the largest here, and this is the smallest here. So we have kilometer, which is the largest measuring distance measure, hectometer, decameter, the meter, decimeter, centimeter, and millimeter. Now, these prefixes, kilo, hecta, deca, whatever the unit is, deci, centa, and milla are going to be consistent, whether it's meters, liters, or grams. Okay, but remembering this is the largest and this is the smallest, and they are in multiples of 10. So if we start with meters, okay, if you had 1 meter, you would have 10 decimeters, because it would be like taking the meters and chopping it up into 10 pieces. Okay, that's a decimeter. So a meter, if that was 1 unit, a decimeter would be 10 units, because it's a smaller unit of measurement. Just like feet is bigger than inches, a meter is bigger than a decimeter. Okay, smaller than that is the centimeter. Okay, so if you have 1 meter, you would have 10 centimeters, 10 decimeters, you would have 100 centimeters. 1 meter, 100 centimeters. 1 meter, 1,000 millimeters. Okay, so if we were to divide this meter up, draw it out on a piece of paper, divide it into 10 pieces, each piece would be, if they were equal pieces, they'd be a decimeter long. If we were to take this same meter and chop it up into 100 pieces, then each piece would be a centimeter long. Okay, and if you were to take the same meter and chop it up into 1,000 pieces, then each piece, if they were equal, would be a millimeter long. Okay, now these are larger units. Okay, so if you had 1 meter, you would have 0.1 decameter, which means if you had a decameter and you chopped it up into 10 pieces, you'd have 10 meters. Okay, so decameter, hectometer would be 0.01, kilometer would be 0.001. Now, we're going to take a look at this chart here, and that's going to help you to understand, remembering that the kilo is the largest, and the milla, move it over here so you can see it, is the smallest. So, say that we have 1,000 meters. Okay, now if we take that, we think, okay, if I have 1,000 meters and decimeters is smaller than a meter, then we'd end up with 10,000 decimeters, 100,000 centimeters, and 1,000,000 millimeters. Okay, does that make sense? So, remember we had started out saying this, if this was 1, this would be 10, this would be 100, this would be 1,000. Okay, well, all we've done is we've moved a decimal place over 1 place. Okay, now let's go in this direction. We know that meters are smaller than decameters. So if we have 1 meter, we must have 100 decameters. If we have 100 decameters, then we have 10 hectometers. If we have 10 hectometers, we're dividing it up, we're going to have 1 kilometer. This gives you a breakdown. So 1 kilometer equals 10 hectometers, 100 decameters, 1,000 meters, 10,000 decimeters, 100,000 centimeters, and 1,000,000 millimeters. So let's take a look at the first problem that they gave you, and that was 4.35 liters equals how many milliliters? Okay, so here are liters right here. Let's write that again. 4.35 liters equals how many milliliters? Okay, so first one thing we're going to do here, we've got 4.35. Sorry, that should be there. Okay, 4.35 liters, and we want to know how many milliliters. Okay, now we know if this is 1, this is 10, this is 100, this is 1,000. So if we were to take 4.35 and times it by 1,000, okay, and that equals, when you're timesing by multiples of 10, you just have to move the decimal place however many numbers, however many zeros there are in the number. So we've got 1, 2, 3 zeros, so we need to move 1, 2, and 3 decimal places, and we have 4,350 milliliters. So 4.35 liters equals 4,350 milliliters. It's always really important that you put the unit in when you complete your equation. Okay, the second one is back to dealing with centimeters. So let's take a look at this. 914 centimeters equals how many meters? Okay, now we know that we've got our centimeters right here, 914, okay, and we want to go to meters. All right, so we've got 3 places here to go. Here's our conversion factor. There's 100 difference. So 914 divided by 100, because we're going from a smaller to a larger unit, so you have to divide. You move your decimal place over 2, and it's 9.14 meters. Okay? Let's see if that helps you, and I'm going to send this to you.